Hello. So, a lot of you have been dropping in and seeing my videos. Okay? 10 of you. Hundreds of you watch the animal stuff, 10 of you watch the game dev stuff. But I like the game dev stuff. I'm writing my own game engine for learning purposes. And what we have today is the Brambling branch. I have Avocet, Brambling, and Condor. These are the Vulkan, OpenGL, and then the DirectX 12 abstractions of each. So this is the XVE engine. XVE used to stand for Zealous Vulkan Engine, which is why Avocet, my branch Avocet, was the Vulkan version first, and it got the A code name. But now it's the Zealous Versatile Engine. And even I struggle to make sure I say versatile and not Vulcan still. But anyway, the point is, I've had a little bit of an upgrade. My new GPU, if I can get it on here, is a wonderful AMD Radeon RX 7800 XT. This is up from a very, very long-serving NVIDIA GeForce 1080 GX superclocked from our long forgotten EVGA. Gone but not forgotten, rather. So, yeah, I was at EVGA, NVIDIA, Team Green guy. I'm now very much Team Red. I'm with AMD now. This is my first ever AMD graphics card, my first ever, and it's my first ever AMD CPU. So this CPU is a Ryzen 9 5950X. However, all of that is pretty pointless because what I'm doing today is, and you'll see I have this game update time loop structure. When we update the application, let me make the code a bit bigger. When we update the application, we're meant to pass the update time down everything. So the objects in the game world, and we have these direct controls to the camera. And I will show you because we then update the camera. We update a bunch of other stuff as well. So if I run the application. Now remember, I built this around a certain graphics card. So I believe this is the ambient light. So let's do this. So there's the ambient light being set, and this is a debug shape. You can immediately see my problem. Look at how quickly things are moving. This is because I'm not using the delta time to update my camera. This was just a debug camera. It was meant to update itself on these places. In fact, it was actually called static camera. As you could probably guess, this camera is no longer static. This is a specific implementation for OpenGL as well. So this is moving the game world around the camera's viewpoint. But anyway, my problem is that I had this value and I had these boosts because my 1080 ran at a certain frame rate almost consistently, and if I did this, it moved nice and slowly. And I even added, irony of irony, this boost feature to let me boost. It would take a while to get to the far plane and let things disappear from view. As you can probably see, it's far too quick now. So what I want to do, if I go to the static camera implementation file, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this from being called static camera to being called camera. And I will just get up this and I will rename Control H all of those to camera. And we will go here and we will change this to camera. Now, the file name I'll keep right now because I've got a bit of Git history on there. So I want to keep the history associated with the file. And we can clean this up. So what have we got? Static camera. Here's a camera. Why are you unhappy? This is a camera. That is a camera. Create not defined. And camera. Build that again. Why are you so unhappy? I also don't like this in the latest. Okay, so we need to just update these in the constructor. That's why I didn't know the pointer type. So I generally do this as a pattern. I have a using of the pointer inside the class itself. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to suffer on my side so you guys can see the code a bit more clearly. I'm going to close all these off and make these a bit bigger. So let me see if that's worked out. No, we've still got another static camera here. Okay, now this is using operator new because I want to only allow you to create. So the static create function is public, and I've blogged about this. I'll link about it. I'll put the link below. I could add like a shared pointer friendship. I could add certain creators so that everything's protected, but basically the constructor itself can be private, and operator new is a bit special and it can reach inside the class. Nothing can not be a friend of new effectively, and it just lets me do this internally to itself. Only in itself. You can't just new a camera outside its class. It's because this is like a constituent function within. I'm not even going to explain that properly. It's Sunday, I don't care. So now we have the same camera, we have the same issue with the ambient light. Let me just see what colour light I wanted. So that's the colour light I actually want. So let's get a piece of paper or notepad. So we want 227, 212, 159. And then the alpha is a stupid number, 65025. I'm sure that's meant to be 255, 255, 255. That's just silly. And we can just put this into the Rambling application here where I set the ambient light. So this is the actual value I want. Oop. Oop. Can't type. Again, it is a Saturday. Yes, so I'm just setting a sunny ambient light. This is the debug marker that you see with the paddles. No, that's still not right. Yeah, it's gone. What? What is happening to this? Something. Okay, so we've got something to dig into here. Something is sort of corrupting the values here. So set ambient light. It is just a vec4. It copies it in. It pushes it onto the stack, which just pushes. I presume that can just move onto there. Pushes that onto there, and then we set ambient light into state. Yep. So, yeah, I can't remember why this is stacked. So this is setting RGBA into the uniform, and the uniform location is just ambient. So let us go into the code, into the shaders. I think that shader being run is the directional shader, and it is just called ambient. Vec4 ambient. So I think the shader side is correct. So the question is, why is this so crazy? Color picker 4. Yeah. So that should be correct. So where is it getting these crazy values from? So we know we push one on. We can go into the light manager, into ambient. Okay. We can pop that colour off. And that goes back to an expected colour. So there's something about my setting. Yeah, that's gone 25525. So that's just white. That's fine. So what's different about when we first get in there? Something strange, clearly. It's bright white. So it's all above 1. These are not valid numbers. Let's pop it. Let's take the breakpoint off. And it goes to white. So GLM spec 4. Fine, let's breakpoint there. We'll get back to the camera in a moment because I like to make sure I'm not retaining any tech debt. I want to make sure I'm moving to a clean state. It's bright white. Why is it bright white? Oh, I know why, because these are VEC4s. And this is not encoded right. Duh. Yeah, so this is a float. So I need to do 227 over... Can't do it. 227 over 255. 0.89. That's a silly bug, actually. And 212. 0.83. 0.831. 159. 0.623. And this is 1.0. That's gonna fix that. That's just literally, I think I did that last night, and it's Sunday, I don't care. There we go, that's better. That's better, that's better, that's better, that's better. And if I go to the ambience and pop it off, you can see it got lighter. And if I go into this one, yeah, so that's the current top, it's fine. Now then, let's go back to the camera, and my dog is going to bark. I'm going to clap at him. You can't. How do you get a deaf dog's attention? Max! Max! Come here. No. He's going to be a pain. Oh well. So, we need to have a state in here that the camera understands. Right now, the state is outside here, look. So what I want is a set of game controls that we understand is a, you know, a game control state. Game control state. And this will contain the forward, back, left and right, and boost, and whatever else we want to do. I hate the Windows goes bling, bling, bling whenever we do that. So let's close this off. And now I've created those two files, I will use my generator, this is my project generator, to switch to the Brambling case. If I was doing the Avocet case, as I said, you'd turn that off and you'd turn on Vulkan. But we're playing about with Brambling today. I'll turn them off because you only have one set. So MSVC, verbose, logging, it's debug, it's got iron GUI, I've got my physics turned on, I don't really need the physics today, and the STL is the underlying window handler and control input stuff that I use. Get a nice copy of that. So it's run CMake for me, and I now have my game control state in here. So we have forward, backward, strafe left, strafe right, rise, fall, view, yaw. So we can start to encapsulate this. Pragma once, namespace, XVE. I will put this as XVE because I don't plan for this to hang around in Brambling long. This will actually go into the base, my base class, and be part of everything. So this is struct game control state. So I'll write these in directly for now. So we'll have a set of known controls for this game. They'll be forward, backward, straight, left, straight, right, whatever. Eventually, what we really want is a data-driven version of this. There is an ECS in my engine, and I want to be able to just add the inputs and filter and connect them to SDL. So I get an update from SDL, the state gets changed, and anything that wants to know the current game control state can just reference the game control state. But for now, we will do it this way. So, forward is a false. In fact, I'll tell you what we can do. We do it as a string, an array rather. So we can do this, and we can go enum class control, not control type, control, forward, backward, strafe, left, strafe, right, your, what else was there? I'm literally blanking here. Your rise and fall, which is a straight rise and fall. So rise would be, imagine you keep a helicopter straight and level, you go straight up, that's rising, and again, a helicopter straight and level dropping, that's falling. Like an elevator, so that would be a use them. We've got pitch, strafe left, strafe right, pitch, pitch, and rise, fall. What I also want are some debug straight ahead things, but we'll add those in later. And then we'll go std array bool, and then we'll go max. I want this to be based on uint32t, and I will go static cast control max and control states. Can I not do that? Can I not const extra all the things? Static uint32t max controls control max static cast this then can be in here, max controls, there we go. And I want to std array. I don't know if you can just default std array to be all false or whatever. Where's the constructors? Fill container with specified value. I'll do that in the constructor then. So we need to have a private section now, and then we need to have game control state. I'm going to literally swing for these dogs any second because they're being very naughty. Game control state space XVE. Game control state. Game control state. That's actually, we don't need any initializers, so we'll leave that there. And we're going control states.fill false. So we are making sure when we construct a game control state, everything is off. Okay, and what I want to do is make this class process these values directly. Okay, so all these bools will go away. And we have these actions in the input system that do things. Okay, So I want to have something that has done this. So let's add a control update. So void update control, and then it's going to be the reference to the control. So const control bool p const bool p value void clear all controls, just so I can clear them all, and this will be a function that we reuse. So game control state, and we can put this fill in it, clear controls, and then update control. And you say, oh, well, you're going to have to range check the value coming in. No, because these are, you know, it's an enum, so it's in known range. We know we can get it. We just want to make sure that it's not max. So I have a whole base logger. We can just assert p control not equal to control max must have a control in range using enum control. So we can just go max, and then we go m control state p control equals p value. This needs to be a static cast, of course. Okie dokie. Yeah, okay. And then we want to potentially get a control state. Const bool reference get control state. Should this be set control state maybe then? Set control state, because we know this isn't going to control it. Get control state. It's going to be const. We'll go back this and we'll call this set control state. Set control state. Get control state, of course, needs the type. It needs the control type that we're going to return. Let's do this. Game control state. That's fine. And this will be return control states static cast on type t p control. So that's going to return a const reference, never change the state of it, give it one. So that's good enough for that. Now I want my type for this. Do you know what? I'm going to just make this a singleton. I don't think I actually care very much about the threading. This is going to be, yeah, this is going to use the main thread, and only the main thread, doing the update in here. So these are all safe to call directly on a static instance of something, because they are all in the main thread, and only the main thread. They update state. Yeah, they update the state once per frame, so that will be fine, and I can just call update each of these, whatever they do. They process the STL events once per frame, so it will be absolutely fine. Yeah, for definite, that's fine. So we've got this, and then we've got static pointer create. And what does this do? And it returns a copy of the thing we're doing. Return pointer new game control state. So So that's the game control state done. Just check that one builds. Doesn't, unique pointer is not known. So let's go in here. Should include memory. Go back. Let's check. Yep, that's fine. So let's go into the application. So we don't need these controls. So we've got oh, boost, I missed boost. So now I can just simply add boost as an enum and the code will catch up. So let's go here. So let's include game control state. And I know I'm going to move it, but we'll do it as a game control state there. And all of this can come out. So this is going to be XVE game control state pointer game control state. Pitch up, pitch down. Did I have pitch up, pitch down? Pitch, yes. They actually pitch up and they're actually pitch down. They're actually separate controls. So your clockwise, your anti-clockwise, pitch up, pitch down. Okay. And we can go in, and I actually don't want any of those functions anymore. In fact, I'll leave them there as pieces of dead code, but I want them. So now these functions, what do? They go game control state set control. It's a bit of a dog's dinner, isn't it? That is a lot. That's a lot of a dog's dinner bit of code compared to just m forwards equals true and m forwards equals false. So do I want to live with that? Let me actually copy the whole thing. Okay. So let's see if we can tidy this up some. So obviously this is a lambda. Yeah, I don't know if I like this style. I don't know whether this needs to be a function itself, define toggle. I don't know. So let's change to the backwards. Okay, and we can get rid of these until we do more of them. Let's clean this up. I don't think that function's ever used. So let's take them out. And let's take this out then. And then the use cases are all up here. And I now want to go to the camera and I want it to have a reference to the game control state. So I want to tell the camera to update from game control state before we then update the view matrix. So the main update function is It's part of my engine, this updatable with time class. Clean this up now because I think we're done with any sort of bits and bobs. This is dirty. Do I want control state to be dirty? Probably do, actually. So what's dirty, you ask? Dirty is a flagging system in my engine that lets me say, hey, this has changed, update it this time. So if we go into the update function, we can see is dirty, and off it goes. Interestingly, clear dirty's in there, so is dirty's checked twice. So if the whole thing is dirty or the render specification is changed, so the window has changed, we update the view matrix, and this again checks update is dirty, so I presume that's a piece of code we can actually get rid of. And just clear dirty once. You see I'm using quaternions in here, don't need that piece of code. So, do I want this other thing to be a dirty as well? Probably do. The base type's dirty, and then we include base types dirty onto game control state. So game control state can include dirty, and it can inherit from XVE base types dirty, and then the only thing that needs to be dirty is this one, so we will go m set dirty, and this thing here will set dirty as well, and only the things that when we're done with this at end of frame will this clear this state. So let's go back to Brambling a second. Let's find these are all the positions of this thing, so this update function, and once it's updated we will say after the camera is updated, so the camera is going to update with the game control state, and then we will clear the game update state. So this will be the last thing we do. Game control state clear dirty. So now we know digested the current input state. I guess. Do I care about dirty actually in there? I probably do, but I don't care what it does for now. We're not going to gate whether the static camera or whether the camera updates based on you know, the value of the dirty flag. We'll use it for other things, but not for that. Let's change this to M camera and change this to M camera, and then so we have got all of these chunky functions. We don't really need them, so M camera update from game input, our game control state, game control state. So this is obviously a unique pointer. I actually just want to return the values. So update camera from the game input controls. So this function, it's a separate function, but we'll live with that for now. This is XVE game control state, if that's how I put it. XVE game control state, and I will go back to the camera and I will forward declare that struct because I don't want to bring the whole definition into here. Game control state reference p game control state. This is now fine. This camera, and in this one I do need to include the full game. Yeah, so the camera is not in the right place, so I do already need to move the game control state. So let's move that file now before I go too far ahead with that. Let's cut the file out of here. Let's put it into my base. I'm surprised I don't have input in here. So let's put input. And let's close this down. Hit regenerate. So now we go into base. So these files are missing, which is correct. To base, into input, game control state, and we actually have input. And we can actually have input. So it's in the XVE input. Check that builds again. Does, it's fine. Game control state is now gone. This one is gone. So this is now input game control state, and this is in base input. So we're back to where we were, I believe. Yes, so this now needs to be included from the right place. So this is hash include base input game input state, and the header needs input on the forward declare. Put there, input there. Let's jump back to here and input here. Okay, so let me just check what we're doing. Right, so it's a load of if statements, but we'll go with it for now. If so, using enum XVE input game control state control. Let me just check what my phone said. My phone say that's all right. So we're going to use the enum, and we're going to go if p control state get control state forward, then this forward is true. Do I want to know that at that point, or do I want to modify it? No, I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing this wrong, folks. I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing this wrong. So we don't want that like that at all. This is the joy of it. What we want is a reference to that game control state, and we want to update it in the update function. XVE input game control state. I'll just make it a pointer for now because it just doesn't care. Game control state. And then this needs to take game control state pointer XVE input game control state pointer b game control state, which means this needs to also take it. That can default to that, and that calls that with p game control state, and this calls this with this, and then we set game control state, P game control state, like that. And then we don't care about this. It's not a required function. Doesn't do its thing. Let's go into brambling. We don't care about that. What we care about is camera equals, right, so what we need is the input state to have been created before the camera, and the camera create, oh, I forgot that there are all positions, all defaults on this. So let's go to create. Let's move this to be the second parameter, because I may not want it to be null, as it were. It doesn't care about the constructor. The constructor's fine. They can be in a different order on the constructor, because it's the create look that has the default values. So it's more likely that I will default these three values than I will default that one. That's all I'm just figuring out there while I'm in the right place. So literally, as I dereference the specification, I will dereference the game control state. In fact, I won't. I'll just get it. Yeah. No, I didn't want to build it. No, I didn't want to build it. Don't do that to me. Game control state. This is a unique pointer, isn't it? No, it's just, don't be so busy. Cancel. Yeah. So I don't care about that. I want to create one of these higher up here. So before I initialize, so find initialize input controls. So where's this called from? This is a base class thing. So game control state equals XVE import game control state create. So that's the the current state of the game controls. Game control state. Using enum XVE input game control state control. So that makes that a bit easier to read. If that's just that, and that's just that. A lot of boilerplate there, but it kind of will figure that out. Error here. That's just the camera. An error there. So this is dot camera create camera XVE game control state. Yeah. Create function, game control state, yeah, so that's right, and this is game control state dot get. There is no game control state. Why don't you think there's a game control state? Why? Let's go to camera. Game control state. Game control state. Why don't you like it? Game control state. Oh, there's a comma missing. Well, that just will like that. No, has to be an explicit get because it's a unique pointer. So not owning unique pointers aren't the greatest thing in the world. Don't particularly like that. May change that to be a reference, just like the above. In fact, I'll do that now. Make it a reference because it's just easier. I can't make it a reference because I might want to not have a camera without a control. So it's got to be a pointer. It has to be a pointer. Okay. So let's just build that. Should only be two translation units because I've done main. Oh, it's doing a load of stuff. There's not actually that many TUs in this build, so it should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. So let's see if it runs. It should just run. Nothing should be broken. Yeah, so I can't move the camera now, but everything appears. So let's go into the camera itself and do what we originally set out to do, which is update this based on time and give us a fixed frame rate. So if game control state, so if we have a control state, we want to update the camera from the controls. I will functionalize this later. If so, using enum XVE input game control state control. If game control state get control state forward, then we actually call forwards with a value. So forward, not that forward, the forward inside camera. So this forward, find forward. So forward at the moment just takes a direction and a speed. What we need it to do is to include a time delta. Whether I want to make this do I want to make this private? Don't know right now. So let me just do this for now. Void forward with time, yeah, and we will do backwards with time as well. And we will put their implementations right next to the other ones because they are extremely close cousins. So this is going to be speed times that. So m position equals m direction times get speed dot times p delta time. Now I want to get the loop time value. So get current time in milliseconds. So I want to think about what this speed is. Is this a speed? It's just a float. So is speed? It's not a strong type. So is it meters per second? Is it kilometers a second? I'm going to say it is meters per second. Okay. So I'm going to say meters per second until I actually put the strong type in. Meters per second. And I then know that forward, so delta time dot. So if I got delta time included, I should include, actually, why isn't it code completing? So this is forward p delta time, and then if m game control state get control state backward, then this is this backward p delta time. So we're passing on the delta time to the forward value, but why isn't delta time code completing for me? It should be included as I want it to. That's something I need to fix. I need to make sure I put my export specification on the input state, the game input state. So this is double time delta time in seconds. Puppy, shush. Get. Seriously, why is this not included? Why is this not code completing for me? Puppy, shut up. Puppy, come here. So I'm sure this should be. I actually think that's a class, to be fair. It is a class, so that needs to be class this is input, and then inside the actual code we need to make sure we include include base time game loop time dot. There we go. So we're going to times these meters per second by direction. So direction is the direction of the camera. By speed times current time. That's a double. Why are you unhappy? No operator matches. So let's break this down some. Auto, const auto, movement delta is this. What type do you think you are? Is this a double? It is a double. Movement delta. So there's no movement delta of that. Let's just cast this to float. Go away, horrible thing. Static cast float. I think this is fine for me to just try now, and I'll dig into the values later. Yeah, it's a double. Yeah, why did I make that a double? There's my question, and I'll make a note of that and we'll come back to it. But that's fine for now. We want exactly the same thing, but for backwards, which is BACK, and backwards, and we will minus equal the movement delta. And this is now going to get the speed. So get speed is meters per second. I need a strong type here eventually. Let's see if this all now builds. And it should. Okay. Now let's see if things move as we expect. No, they don't. No, they don't at all. Why don't they move as we expect? Or are they moving tiny, tiny amounts? Yes. Let's check that. Let's land in let's land in here, see what we're doing. Are we even getting there? No, we're not getting there. So litter the code with debugging. Okay, so we did go backwards. We have set it true. The states are now false, true, false, 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 false. It's now gone back up. It's fine. Okay, so it's setting it in there. let's see what the camera sees. So, so we don't have, we've got a null there. So let's now, oh, I know what we didn't do. Camera. So this is null because we don't create the game control state in time. In game XVE import game control state create. So this must be created first for this purpose. XVE assert game control state must have a game control state before creating the brambling camera, because the brambling camera depends on it. So find game control state equals, that one's in the wrong place clearly, so that's getting called after the application initialized, which is fine. It's fine, but it leaves our camera broken. I think this is all fine. We've set that down. Right, so let's go into the camera. We are not seeming to get in there. Well, we are. So movement delta is 4.9. Tiny is what the movement delta is. So position is tiny. So what is speed? Speed must be tiny. So this is now meters per second, and the default speed is 0.0005 meters per second. So let's move our camera by 5 meters per second. Okay, and then boost factor is 5, so it will move by 25 meters per second when we boost. Let's see what we now get. So these are, let me make a mess of myself. Let's make sure I put a comment in, meters per second. And this is why you should favor strong types, because it's going to communicate to everybody what this float actually is. It's too abstract right now that this float is just 5 and this float is 5, and you think, okay, what's it doing? So let's now, yep, let's move, there we go. So we're moving by 5 meters per second. I don't know what happened there. Let's try that again. So there's the 5 meters per second, and that should be boosting. It's not boosting very well. Find get speed. Oh, boost isn't wired up to anything, so we can wire boost to something. So let's go into here and go if gain control state get control state boost this set boost true. In fact, you know what? This is the opposite thing. So what we do is every frame we set this to gain control state get control state boost, and that will just turn it on and off for us. We can get rid of the thises because we don't need, yeah, I do. I need to disambiguate that. I need to disambiguate this function boost from the enum. I can tidy that up later, don't worry about it. This can actually go in a function itself, but I don't really care right now. So I now need to go into brambling, and I need to find the boost control. need to do this, and we need to do this. Left control and boost. So let's copy this whole thing. So I can probably make this a macro, probably. SDL scan code L control, and this is boost, and this is boost. So we will now be able to boost from 5 to 25 frames per second. I've just come to the hour mark in this recording. It's all a bit rough and ready. You've heard the dogs barking, but yep, there we go. We are boosting now. So normal speed, boosting speed, normal speed, boosting speed. Let's create a space above us. I can't go up and down, so I need to put all the other controls in. I'll do that now, and that's just a longer live dev update for quite how my engine sits and works. What I'll be doing is implementing all of these. I'm going to tidy this up. I'm going to add the export to the control system. I'm going to think about how to save and load a set of controls, and I'm going to think about strong typing the speed of the camera. So lots of bits and bobs. You can also kind of guess some of my coding standard stuff out of this. I don't particularly like this registration, but it works. The threading, you heard me consider that it's all on the main thread at the moment for this update, certainly. And you've heard me mention stuff about my ECS. The generator has recently been rewritten, so it's using PyImGui. Is it PyImGui or Dear PyGui? Rather than some simple PyGui stuff that I was using before. This is just generic for me to use, so this is written in Python, and it just invokes CMake, and it's cross-platform, works on Linux as well. And that's why Brambling is my OpenGL, because I'm aiming to just move back to Linux as a daily driver now. I've got an AMD graphics card. So thank you all for watching. If you got all through the hour and 2 minutes, well done to you. And beyond that, yeah, keep your eye out for XVE and what my actual project is, because once the engine is a bit more mature, there will be some gameplay.